Hi everybody, it's me, Beth Maitland from Drama Queen Bee Quilts. Right now I'm coming to you from a little behind the scenes. This is my day job. This is the sound booth at a pretty famous movie lot here in the San Fernando Valley, but I'm taking my dinner break to do a quick tutorial with you. Today we're going to make journal covers out of quilted bits that maybe are practice samples that you've worked on, or some other fantastic little batik scrap you've quilted that you just have to find a good use for. So this is a great way to use up small sample pieces for smaller projects. Let's learn how to make a journal cover. Okay, here's 3 good examples of what we're going to work on today. You first have to go purchase a blank journal, and I get mine from Barnes & Noble. I like the standard smaller version. Some of them have lines, some of them are just sketch pads, some of them even have graph paper inside. And then you square up a piece of quilt sandwich that you've worked on. Now this is important. This will also make it custom to any size journal that you pick. You leave about 1.5 inches on the top and the bottom of the journal. Then you fold over about 2 to 3 inches to make that little envelope in which to slide it. And this is important too. You have to close the book before you end up doing the final squaring and cutting, because when you close the binding, it stretches the fabric around that spine, and so you need to make sure that the measurements are right with the book closed. The next step is easy. You just go to your sewing machine and a standard zigzag stitch. You sew all the way around all 4 sides of your piece of quilt sandwich. Then you insert the book back into the quilt sandwich, and you fold it over again, and you put in 2 pins at the upper and lower edges of the journal. The hard-bound journals work best for this. A soft-bound like a moleskin is a little harder to manipulate. Now when you do the pinning, you have to remember that you need to have your quilt sandwich inside out. In this one, the white is going to be the outside of the journal, because we are going to sew next, and then we're going to turn it inside out when we're finished. In this one, the blue is going to be on the outside of the journal, so just keep that in mind when you're pinning. The next thing we do is go to the sewing machine, and where you have those pins, I want you to make little straight seams back and forth 2 or 3 times each, and then we're going to come in and clip. We're going to make sort of reverse wedges to be able to turn it inside out and tuck in. So I cut along the seam, and then I cut outward and backward to make sort of a little wedge shape, like cutting out a dart to turn inside out. And then we do that. We turn our little journal cover inside out, and as you can see, those little darts then will tuck right in underneath the flap of the envelope you've created. So we take the long sides now, and we tuck in 1 little pin, and then we go to the sewing machine and we top stitch along the outer edge. It's going to make the outside of the journal cover nice and neat, and it's also going to keep that flap tucked down nicely with a seam. And now do you see how the little wedge just completely disappears when we tuck everything back in when it's inside out? So that's it. Now you have to go to your journal and slide it into each of those little envelope spaces and close it, and you have a beautiful journal cover. Once again, this is the perfect opportunity to use up sample pieces of quilt sandwich where you're learning a new technique or playing with a new quilting design. And a lot of times it's really forgiving to be able to manipulate what section of your quilt sandwich you cut up for your sample. And also a great way to use up old pieces of fabric from your stash that still speak to you but aren't big enough for a larger project or to incorporate into a quilt. The other thing I did was, when I was squaring up my quilt sandwich to make my journal cover, I had some scraps that I cut off. And so I used those by making little bookmarks. I made rectangles out of the scraps. I zigzagged all the way around the outside, attached a little piece of matching ribbon, and in this case added a candle to it, and it was the perfect little Christmas gift for a friend, a hostess gift. Journal covers. I hope you'll try to make one today. Thank you for joining me for this tutorial. It's Beth Maitland with Drama Queen Bee Quilts. See you next time.